Hello, welcome to This Is For Me. I'm your host, Trisha, and this is for preventing guilt. Okay, first of all, in case anyone cares, my episodes, I announced this last week on my Just Audio episode, but this podcast might rotate, which is, of course, the magic formula to get a loyal listenership. It's fine. My friend Molly knows where to find me. Okay. It's gonna rotate, I think, between YouTube and then Spotify because something very strange is going on with my Anchor app. Sometimes it refuses to download my podcast that I record videos for. It like won't just export the audio, but then other times it does. So I don't know, but I like the idea of putting these videos up on YouTube. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Anyway, if it feels like you skipped something, you missed something, just maybe go back on Spotify and it was like a different week or something. And you know what else? Sometimes I don't want to put on makeup. And not like I put on a lot of makeup because I never have, but I can't look completely dead, at least not yet. I think maybe one day when I know that a bunch of people really love me enough to look at my face without any makeup on to cover my dark circles that are genetic and I can't do anything about them no matter how hydrated I am, then I'll record a video on YouTube without makeup. I've done it on TikTok before, but I can't just do this in front of a window. Natural light really saves everyone. It's the best ring light, the sun. Anyway, okay. Preventing guilt. Now, we all know how I feel about people pleasing and that a lot of our guilt is either self inflicted or societally inflicted, where, like, oh, you can't skip that birthday party even though you want to because then you'll feel bad. Like, I've talked about this endlessly. Like, please don't attend anything just out of guilt, because I'm sure if you told that person, hey, I'm only here so I don't feel bad later, that would be the truth of it, right? I don't think they'd want you there. Pause for coffee consumption. This turmeric latte is extra good. Maybe because I waited so long to have it that I'm starving and I do think of coffee as food. It has 11 grams of protein from collagen in there, and it's got bee pollen and turmeric powder and homemade almond milk with a few cashews and a couple dates pureed. So it is food, okay? So when I say I'm starving and I need coffee, that's not a crazy statement. I'm getting a bunch of nutrients. Anyway, I digress. I'm pausing, okay? Oh my God, so good. So good. All right. So, what made me think of this was, as of late, a lot of people constantly ask me, actually, at the bakery I work at, like, what do you eat here? Or, oh, I don't know how you work here. And it's such a statement, like, I guess I'm supposed to fill in the blank when they say, I don't know how you work here. Well, am I supposed to assume, do you mean because it's horrible? By the way, it's not. Do you mean because it's so hard? I mean, working with the public actually is really hard. But no, I know that the thing I'm supposed to fill in is, I don't know how you work here and don't eat everything, right? Some people have completed the sentence enough in my 4 years. It's just a constant thing. And of course, I'm sure, especially my boss's husband, because he's usually like off to the side of the register, gets so eye rolly with me explaining to people, well, I actually don't eat anything here. I used to eat the almond rounds because they're gluten free and dairy free, but then I went on this kick, which is no longer a kick, of I don't want to eat things with added sugar. And if I do, it's less than 10 grams a day. And, you know, I really try to avoid added sugars. That doesn't mean I don't have dates. That doesn't mean like once in a while I use maple syrup or honey, but just refined sugar, no. And I try even to not do that. I try to not do maple syrup or honey even because there's no like fiber going along with those things, although I know there's health benefits. Anyway, we all know recovered anorexic, current orthorexic, and I'm not really ashamed of being orthorexic. And that brings me to the whole guilt thing of just not doing things you feel guilty about. Also, let's just be self-aware, and I think we would all, once you just say things, guys, you don't feel guilty. Just release it, okay? Let's just release it. So, I have found myself saying more often when this subject comes up with customers and how are you so thin and you work here, and how do you look like that and you work here? And it's very nice, by the way. I hope these compliments never stop. I love a compliment. Never gets old for me. Cancer Leo here. Can't say it enough. I love it. I have learned in my I think by late 20s and 30s, how to gracefully accept a compliment. I'm no longer in that, high school. It was very much Mean Girls. Like, you just had to be like, oh my God, I'm so gross. Oh my God, I'm so fat. Oh my God, I'm so disgusting. Meanwhile, it was like sitting at the table with like the most popular, beautiful girls in school being like, this is dumb. Like, this is so stupid. And if you think you're ugly, then like, what are the rest of us supposed to think? All right. Anyway, I've learned to gracefully accept a compliment, but what I found myself saying is, well, I don't have a guilty pleasure because if I was going to feel guilt, I wouldn't eat anything. And I eat dessert every night of my life. Okay. And my desserts are, well, please go again. I always say follow me on Instagram at Trisha Kemi. You'll see them. They are pretty much always involving dates. Sometimes they're not. This last one I made wasn't, but dairy-free, sugar-free chocolate, lots of ground nuts, pureed nuts of some form, lots of coconut milk. These are not light desserts. These are calorie-dense desserts, but they're also full of protein and healthy fats, and they're just delicious. They're amazing. And so I don't feel guilty, even if my dessert is like, I don't know, probably 700 calories. Like, I don't care. If I felt guilty, I wouldn't do it. And that I've been very good about. But the other thing I want to introduce in my own life is not acting in a way I'd feel guilty about, or I guess saying things I'd feel guilty about, okay? So in general, I like to think I'm a person of very high integrity. By integrity, I mean like, don't talk about it, be about it. Say what you mean what you say. Don't pretend you're going to go to an event and then cancel last minute. I'm not about that. Just don't say you can, I don't know, for in my case, like don't say I can make something for someone, like a special dessert, and then just like not follow through. If I don't think I'll be able to do it, I'll say no. Okay, so in that sense, I'm pretty good. But this is a very big challenge, okay, guys? I think we are all guilty of talking some shit. Pause again, coffee consumption, okay? I'm really getting into it. Now, I don't want to be fake. I don't want to be fake ever. And I just, I always want to be authentic and I want to speak my feelings. And I don't ever say things just to be mean. I really don't. But I guess that's almost what's worse is that I know that some of my thoughts, my honest, real thoughts, would probably hurt someone's feelings. Okay. And right now, I'm not thinking of any one person specifically. There's been various. And I think if we're all honest with ourselves, you would know this too. And I think we have all thought things about people we genuinely love or at least genuinely like, people we care about, people we know are good people. Yet we've thought pretty unkind thoughts about others. And I I guess in the same vein of like I don't want to eat something if I would feel bee pollen, sorry. Wow, real pro move too. I just cleared my throat like in the mic. Apologies. Guys, it's only episode I think 27. So, she's learning. She's learning, she's growing. She's on her couch at I don't know, close to noon on Monday, March 6th. Okay. So, in the same way that I wouldn't eat something now if I would feel guilty about it, because that's not a healthy mind body connection, that's also just not loving yourself. Like, if you love yourself, why would you do that to yourself? Why would you put something in your body you're gonna feel bad about? That's a self-hating act. That's self-sabotage. Now, it's guys, I haven't figured this out. A lot of times I talk about things that I think I figured out, which is pretty naive. But I just had the epiphany this week that's my current project. Okay, I'll say that I figured out. My current project is changing my behavior when it comes to talking some shit. Because I guess they say, we all know who they are. When someone really bothers you, when someone triggers you, I know that word is overused, but it's appropriate. It's usually stemming from something you identify about yourself that you don't like, or a deep-seated fear that about yourself that you don't like. So for me, I'm just going to give an example of laziness. Growing up, my mother made it very clear that one of the worst things you could be was lazy. Okay. And, she would always say, don't be lazy like your father. Don't be lazy like your father. It was just the worst. Always have a clean house. If you don't, that means you're lazy. Always, I don't know, like help out with chores. Don't be lazy. Don't go to a party and not offer to help clean, help contribute, help set up, whatever. So that's a real big thing. And I've always been a very hard worker. I don't know if that's why, but whether it was in school, like no one in my family cared about grades. My sisters did not get great grades. And they are very intelligent women. They just were more interested in having fun and partying. And I could get all A's and one B, and no one would care. My little brother could get B's, a couple C's, and one A, and his report card would be on the fridge. Now we're getting into another thing. But anyway, I say all this to say, like, I tried really hard in school just to not be lazy. Just to not be lazy. So when I see other people taking shortcuts or pretending that they don't see work that does need to be done, like just to allow somebody else to do it, kind of purposely dropping the ball, it really bothers me. And it shouldn't, because it doesn't really affect me. It doesn't really affect how I live my life or my day or my paycheck. So I don't know why I'm so triggered. Like, I don't know what it is. And I just don't know why my mind chooses, instead of focusing on all the things that I love in my own world, my relationships with people, my hobbies, like, why does my mind want to have this narrative, this negative narrative about others? I don't know. Or when I see people that have expressed, like, they want to be healthier, and then they're eating things that are not healthy. And in my head, I'm like, they don't respect themselves. They're disrespecting themselves. And that's something that like I think is so important is, treating your body with respect, and again, like holding yourself in a place of integrity. Like, why would they say that they care about this and then not follow through? I don't understand. And it's just as of late, when these thoughts invade my head, it just makes me feel like a really ugly person. And I don't like that. And yeah, I don't know if anyone does listen to this. Can you just like comment on my Instagram or on my TikTok or DM me or something? Like, what is the best practice to stop doing this? Because, like, I don't want to think negative thoughts about people. I want it to just be like pass it. I want it to like pass by, right? So maybe that's where I'm going to start is notice the negative thought, like a meditation, right? When you want to clear your mind of thoughts. And part of it is like thoughts will come in and then you just like let them go like a feather in the wind. Maybe that's what it is. To just like notice the negative thought about someone else and then like maybe check in with myself. I'm live working through this, guys. Maybe check in with myself like, what are you scared of about you? Like, what is this person making you think of that scares you about you? And then let it pass. Okay. Because, yeah, I do feel guilty. I feel guilty about these thoughts because it's generally about, if people in my life that I like, that I actually like. And I feel like an asshole. So anyway, that's all. Just working on being better and releasing guilt. And also, I guess though, this is okay, I'll close on this because this is actually going to make me feel better, ironically enough, is that I know I'm just human and I'm not some kind of a guru, right? I'm not Gandhi. And also, something I learned as a child when my mother actually would talk smack about my siblings to me, I had to understand, and my siblings and I, we've talked about this, that if she's doing this to them with you, she's doing it to you with them. So, like, I know when I'm not around, she probably talks smack about me. But that didn't actually affect, my siblings' life or mine, because also, like, we always knew the truth. Your parents have a very specific view, from whatever time frame they grew up in. I am still in the midst of reading The Feminine Mystique, and it's definitely eye opening in how my mother was probably raised by her mom and everything. Anyway, okay, getting into the weeds again. I am feeling better because I'm realizing other people for sure talk shit about me, right? Like, not that I didn't already know this, guys. I didn't just like live come up with this. Like, oh my God, people don't just think wonderful thoughts about me. Number one, no one thinks about you as much as you think they do. So that too, like, I'm not just nonstop like talking shit in my head about other people. No way. I'm thinking about myself. I'm thinking about my fucking skin. I'm thinking about hair removal. I'm thinking about my bills. I'm thinking about how I want a new bedspread. You know what I mean? Like, these are the thoughts that are going on in other people's heads too. Like, they're not really thinking about you that much, but they are and have like talked shit about you. So I know other people have talked shit about me for sure. I probably could even guess different things that people have talked shit about me about. You know what I mean? And here I am, still fully being my authentic self. It doesn't affect how I sleep at night. So maybe they're even aware too. Like maybe these people are already aware of their shortcomings. It's just that I don't want to feel guilty about my negative thoughts. And I do think what you put out into the world energetically comes back to you. So it does kind of make me feel better though to know I'm like, you know what? All the people I've thought kind of critical feelings about have for sure thought critical feelings about me, and I'm okay. So they're okay. I didn't harm them. But, you know, let's just maybe it just goes back to mind your own business. Mind your own business. That's what it's going to be. Okay. Anyway, that's all. Hope you enjoyed this meandering episode. And follow me on Instagram at Trisha Kemi. Follow me on TikTok at Trisha Kemi. That's all.